Welcome to a video you can skip where I'm just looking at an analysis that someone wrote on Steam. Let's see right off the bat, strong hit. Yeah, the whole, like, human student is the only one of his kind in a school full of dinosaurs doesn't actually fucking matter. Him being a human is not a relevant plot detail in the way that matters. Like, he's not even that much of an outsider. He makes friends literally immediately, and those are the only friends that matter. Like, if you want this to be a story about someone integrating into a society he doesn't fit into, you don't give him everyone at the beginning. Alright? It's all about Olivia. What it's about is about Inko. Like, it's not even about him being alone. It's that Inko dehumanizes the people around him. That's ending one Inko's problem, is he dehumanizes everyone around him. Right? Yeah. Like, the fact that the choice to go along with the crowd or not doesn't mean anything is, like, the most indicative that that's not the part of the story that matters, because that's, like, the part of the story where Inko's being the only human and wanting to fit in matter, when you really think about it. Like, if this was a plot point, why doesn't Lunera bring it up, right? Like, there's a whole section that could have done something with that. Like, oh, of course the one... Why did no one bring that up? Like, oh, of course the one human in school wins the... Like, that should have been a point, right? If you want that to be your plot point. So, analysis man, no, you're wrong. No, Olivia is a protagonist, you idiot. So much of the plot revolves around her. She's not a deuteragonist. Oh, no. Oh, it's second. I thought Excuse me, I thought deuteragonist... I don't even know.
Deuteragonist.
The deuteragonist. I thought that meant that, like... I honestly thought that like, protagonist, you could have multiple protagonists. And deuteragonists is like... I never knew that that was specifically... No, that's just the second people. But that doesn't work for me, because then you can only have two people. I mean, at that point, you're just making it the whole fucking point. Yeah, he's the secondary character. The plot is about Olivia getting over herself. Him being an asshole is kind of part of it, but mostly in her context, when you get down to it. Right down to the point that the story ends when Olivia fucking dies. Also, the whole, like, racing in a wheelchair thing never comes up in a way that I feel... Again! I like how he's called the Anon. I will say that he's right. They have unique designs. I don't know if they reflect their character traits that well, other than, like, some really superficial stuff, but that's fair enough, you know? That he's an empty shell waiting to be adorned by fancy consumer products. Which is kind of fair, I guess. But again, like with Ben, not enough is done with it for it to really work. You gotta hit it twice. You gotta hit it hard. 3 is the minimum amount of times you have to do something for something to be a pattern. And you gotta make it strong enough that it sticks to the paper. Problem is that Anna was... whatever. Only regret saying what other people have said. Yeah, that doesn't really get hammered home. Nah, it's there, but it's a bit subtle. I like how this guy took screenshots with the debug mode active. Great. Good job for you, buddy. I don't give two shits because it's going to make me look bad. Ah, that's so great. Failing to develop Inko will doom him to being a spineless conformist who only acts for the approval of others. You make enough right choices for someone capable of autonomy. Act free. Sorry, but the animation in the side is... Oh, no, it's the flashing. That thing fucking flashes. Stop flashing, please. We're going to go to the options menu, so that stops flashing and catching my attention the whole damn time. Inko's goal is to evolve from an NPC into a capable individual. Olivia... What mental condition? Olivia doesn't have a mental condition. She's just upset with herself. If she has a mental condition, it's not expressed all that well. He became human. Inko become human. Hell yeah. She's a talented underachiever. Wow. Belied by her. Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter if she's wearing slippers in the art. We never get to see it. Also, those are definitely trying to be like pedo bears. I just know that that's what was in their mind when they drew those. Why would she dress her feet in comfort if they don't work? Wouldn't they be numb? And if they're not numb, that's even... Why doesn't Inko give her a fucking foot rub? Come on. It's the obvious thing to do. What the hell is this? That's an old picture. Move it, loser. Oh, wow. That's an early version, huh? That's probably before they had to shape it up. I like that they have pine trees. Suits the green boxes. Looking towards her own painting with obvious resentment. God, I still think that when she's wrapped up in the blanket, she looks so weird. Like her head shape just makes my head spin. Yeah, I guess the writer guy is right. Inko doesn't know how to cook, but he clearly is capable of keeping himself alive at home. You know, his parents being gone and everything. Prepackaged with a stroller. She crawls on her hands and knees like an infant. Well, I guess that's a good reason to keep her legs around to that extent, then. Symbolically relevant. It's her legs not working, though. It's not like she can grow out of that. Although maybe that's the point. You gotta learn to accept it. Olivia has like 3 fathers. She has her actual father, she has Mr. Payne, Randy, and she has fucking the Yatakan. Jesus. It took 3 fathers, 4 if you count Inko, to make this girl anything. Jesus. Also a warning to the player about being overprotective of Olivia. Continually hand-holding. Oh, that's neat. The scores and their reciprocal effects. Weak-willed soy boy. Their entitlement and delusions of grandeur. Yeah, that's kind of what ending 2 is. The first time... Alright, well, fair enough. Missed opportunity but caveman on to describe Inko trying not to stare. That's just rude, man. Was I right about this? Because I want to see how he thinks about this. Huh. I love how Mia says you won't score any points doing this. It's so fucking stupid. No one is sure how this will affect the remainder of the game, but whatever means they can indicate the score. Jesus. Actually, I think it just comes up once for like that he did it at all. That's all it does. Which is really weird that they do it for the one choice. Pity and Hypocrisy and Questionable Writing. Now that's a spicy title. The Inko Perry. Oh man, these. Let's see. The best choices come right after another. Provided you make the right choices, rant on that incoming. There is no point in treating them separately as they are both integral, and I will collapse them into a single section. Mm-hmm. Infuriating, selfish, and self-pitying. Most likely ending 4. Ending 2 is essentially what happens if the issues brought up here don't get resolved. Even though it's so easy to get ending 3 even if you don't. Most endearing and adorable character ever written was sweet and loving. Okay, well, I know that the entire point Caveman was going for is to make her a flawed three-dimensional character undergoing necessary personal growth to overcome those flaws. She gets let off much too easily here, even if you go through all the correct choices. My reasons are as follows. Inko is too damn nice to her. He of all people is alright to be furious at Olivia. The fact that she makes one token observation about his own flawed character doesn't justify her using him the way she did. And he should have been far more direct with that fact. And for those who would argue that he does challenge her on her wrongdoing, it only comes up as an observation, not him being righteously indignant at having his trust betrayed. He barely shows any damn emotion here at all. It's all very robotic conversations that are practically telling the players what they should be doing via Inko's narration. Even if you choose to let her fail, she doesn't actually face any repercussions and instead begs him to keep quiet. She doesn't even get scolded by Yatakan, who really ought to have. It's my guess that Yatakan knew what Olivia was up to and allowed it to happen so she could get caught and deal with the repercussions, whatever they may have been. But he still should have done more than being a passive witness. Now, I know that he destroys her painting later in the game, but after Inko and Olivia get out of the rain and talk to him about it, he all but fawns over her, and this is when she is treated like a borderline Mary Sue. Is she? I mean, she gets off pretty easy, yeah, fair enough. I can see that angle. Like I said, argumentation matters a lot, you know. Again, when you make all the right choices, the whole thing amounts to little more than an impromptu therapy session for Olivia. It was all like, shucks, I hate to admit it, but you're right. It doesn't do anything to try and pay Inko back besides trying to help him get good at painting, which happens anyway regardless. Would it, though? The whole conceit of Inko being placed in a similar situation as she, where he's subject to unearned praise, falls flat when the issue of him not actually being able to paint is actually swept under the rug anyway. Never relevant to the plot again. Yeah! It reminds me of that episode in Seinfeld where Jerry diffuses any and all challenges with his legendary yet dubious athletic abilities by saying, I chose not to run. We can just mention Inko easily saying, I chose not to paint. That would amount to the same thing, even except that doesn't happen. Everyone just collectively forgets for the plot's sake. Yeah, they really... Like I said, there's so many plot points you just don't do anything with. It's obvious what Kevin was going for. The message is not simping for any girl, and they were attempting to drive that point home in the bluntest way possible by showing Olivia turning into an abusive narcissist in ending 2. And this is merely the self-destructive mentality leading up to it. Now, I'm not saying they were wrong for doing that. In fact, I think it's brilliant. My issue here is that they were trying to create the message not about simping. My issue here is that in trying to create a message about not simping, they ended up simping for Olivia themselves by treating her with the kid gloves. I attempt to delineate the problem as straightforward as I can. First, Inko confronts her with her misdeed, easily inferring what happened, and then she says, I can explain, and goes into some sob story about her feelings and about how his mere presence was causing her to have this existential crisis, and he apologizes. You should probably put bold or emphasis or italics on the and he apologizes, if that's your point, because otherwise it's a bit weird. At this point, the player wasn't even given a dialogue option yet, but the game is practically telling you not to be angry with Olivia. I immediately regret my words, okay? Why does this font look different? Or is it just my brain being stupid? Seen the Polish language, which makes me wonder whether this game will ever get a... Listen, I'm willing to provide the Dutch translation, but... I want to get paid for it this time, though. Because technically speaking, I have translation experience for a translation that never released. I'm pretty sure I still have it lying around here somewhere, too. Angels with Scaly Wings, you can knock any time and I can hand over the material. I just forgot to. Second, if you choose the option, but why do all this? And I hate the wording in it because it's not direct enough. Inko's response is to regret pressing her on the issue because he feels bad for her. Come the heck on! This is not normal human behavior. At this point, he's not acting like a friend whom she wronged. He's acting like her therapist. He should have gotten angry. He would have been in the right to be angry. In his absence of anger, he's feeling like a personal actor. Out of respect for Olivia's feelings. Because to back down would degenerate her. This comes across as self-refuting. He's walking on eggshells for her, even though, cripple or no cripple, she... Yeah! Like in the replay, I really felt that. People having the agent shooting her that way when she robbed them of his agency for between them as a proxy. Again, Inko or anyone would have the right to be angry, yet the player's not given the option to throw it back in Olivia's face. See, even though you go through the ridiculous flowchart of responses necessary to finally get Inko to grow his mind to say to her, no one made you do those things, you did it on your own, stop feeling sorry. It comes across as simping, because regardless of the backlash, she gets nothing! Inko's the one who has to deal with that shit. The more I realize he missed... Yeah, there's a lot of missed opportunities, buddy. Though some aren't necessarily relevant to the big plot itself. Let's not pretend that that's the problem. It's also clunky. Normally I think there's a great and not breaking the show don't tell rule by either telegraphing aspects of the story or leaving events vague enough. So we're not here. The entire sections need of editing. Self-editing for fiction writers. The fuck does that mean? That sounds like a good read. Is it on the website that I can access that isn't Amazon? Because I don't want to bother with Amazon. Oh, there it is. Well, hell. You know what? I think I'm going to buy it right here, right now. Don't demand me. I'm just buying a little itty bitty for me. Wait. Safi, you can't just start ordering stuff while you're live on stream. Okay, but is it small enough to... You always make like the mention of like, oh, by the way, we can fit it in your mail slot for you. Does this fit in the fucking mail slot or not? Oh, they got a... Ooh, they got a machine. Ooh. Hell, let's do that. I want to see how that works. It's just a cheap book. Whoops! Oh, that's gonna fucking break the stream quick! Oh no! You moron! Oh, I'm such a clueless, harmless fool! Every time I open payment processing. What happens is fairly simple and straightforward, right? What happens is fairly straightforward. I hope it's still working. Please, for the love of God, tell me it's still working. Because normally when the safety thing goes on, it's like, hey, listen, we're gonna take care of this for you, buddy, and give me a slap on the back. Oh no, this isn't the machine I was thinking of. Well, fuck me. Oh well, let's go back to the analysis then. I'm gonna read that book. It's gonna be great. Should have looked up how many pages it was, actually. That makes a lot of sense, actually. 272? Well, I guess I'm gonna be learning then. Topics is characterization, exposition, point of view, dialogue, proportion, and voice. Hell yeah, baby! I don't care if I got to hug the gator. I get paid $50 an hour. I get paid nothing! I have made no money being here. The Inko Perry. There's not a lot of anything to say or the choice whatever to give a hand Olivia a pity W. While she pays not Bob from Tekken. Not that much of an interesting chapter thematically. Buster is a fat neckbeard who respects but also pities her. Embraced the moniker Hot Wheels. Fair. Oh man, guys, nostalgic for the arcade. Choice 7, the Machtige Monarch. That's from Jacob Double. I don't even know if you know about that show, but it aired here. Well, Ben focuses on quantity over quality, which also quantity over quality. Yeah, yes. The mental detachment from people. Inko has an opportunity to stand up and take more intimate photos. Yeah, baby, I noticed that. I'm smart. I put my hands in my ass. I feel so proud. Take or disregard the groom's advice, which is to stop overthinking the feelings for Olivia and embrace what he knows deep down. Oh, that's the point of it. Fair enough. What's interesting is that we can imagine Iadakon telling Olivia the same not the monarch has told Inko, to stop trying to convince herself that she doesn't have feelings. From her body language, it's okay, yeah, fair enough. If he chooses to appeal to Damon, he just gives Inko the runaround. It's more like Inko falling back on the ingrained habit of turning to his phone for help, which he mentions prior to the choice being presented. Yeah, he's one of those screen kids. Trying to outsource his problems. Hell yeah, I love that. That's a bit more subtle, because he's calling a friend, not necessarily going online, but whatever. God damn it. Crossing the abyss. Even before, Tone said Gator having a fatalistic outlook. Third and final time. Oh, yeah, we could go to the elevator, can't we? Let's go to the elevator. Which one is the elevator again? Not this one. This is a sad elevator. We need the blank elevator. There you go. Mia exists as a narrative antipode, contrasting she's athletic jock type with a cruel and vindictive nature. She belongs to herbivore stock. A dinosaur doesn't preclude her from having her own predator. Okay. Oh yeah, she does reinforce the idea that art is the only thing she has, because that's what she squeezes out of her. Sanctuary and prison. She has become her own jailer. Nice. That's a fair way to look at it, I guess. Refusing the key will force her to take control. Fair enough. For being the final decision with the potential to grow Olivia's score to a maximum of 5 is no small event in the course of the game. Oh man, we're going back to the 20-aughts. We're playing the Xenosaga trilogy on PlayStation 2. Man, this analysis is going places. Nietzschean philosophy and occultic esotericism. The Mystical Kabbalah by the Unfortunate. Man, this guy's got some books. The great formula that expresses the nature of Dath, knowledge, is that the empty room, the phrase the empty room, has several unlocks in different levels. The symbol itself refers to the Amsoul symbol in the context of reality. On the other and lower levels, the empty room becomes the monistic cell where the personality is whittled down to the bare essentials and becomes the mundane conditions of human being. The condemned cell is preparation for the next phase. In the empty room is the awareness of complete delineation of God. Cool. I don't understand any of that. In a final contact with the empty room, the last symbol, is absorbed into the consciousness and that the empty room no longer exists. The empty room, as its name, has no furniture, no forms. It is a narrow confine, first filled with the essences and light, will also fade out in the end. To sum that up in simpler terms, thank you. Olivia is undergoing some hard reboot. She must shed her fears and insecurities, which includes living under the shadow of her own creation, Dreamscape, which she painted on her freshman year. But she doesn't destroy it. It's like the last thing Iadakon really does. Why do you care about our opinions so much? Is a quote that I like to highlight not only because it's the crux of Inko's problem with the whole character arc. It is! Well, the buxom baryonyx, that's just rude. Liz is from an affluent family? I always got the impression she was a middling. Like, it's implied that she's not middle class, though. Like, Olivia's God, what's going on here? I'm very confused, sorry. A very long neck, which is one thing in Wani to strain credulity with its impossible philosophy. Yeah, the neck's a bit much sometimes. I get it, it's cute, it's adorable, but like I imagine the mechanical implementation, everything is just awful. And it's sometimes like when they don't put any focus on it, you're like, oh, it just curves above there, right? But in other times, it's like she goes straight up 10 floors, and it just don't look at it. It's fine, but only if you don't look at it. Lower stature, being wheelchair bound. Tension reaches a break with her frustration in very passive aggressive ways. What the hell? Sometimes people need to get their feelings hurt. Apropos of their shared virgin mimosa. You can also see that he admires Olivia. Okay. Okay, fair enough. Ben's faint. Assuming by this point that the reader has seen ending 4, we can dispense with the spoiler warnings. Ben is a literal psychopath. No! He's schizophrenic, right? That's not psycho... Not in the way you think it is. Like, psychopath means that you lack certain emotions for other people, I think. I don't think that necessarily aligns with schizophrenia. Whatever, I don't know what he has. He doesn't want to talk about it. With the antisocial personality disorder like empathy and stealing wisdom and exchange of power dynamics. Then why the fuck is he around at the ending? Nigh immaculate charisma and the fact that he seems to feel no compulsion. Ah, fair enough. When Olivia relates the story... I don't know, this... Yeah, but I got the impression he's schizophrenic. Hold the phone, we gotta go back to prom! Am I wrong? Shut up! Also, can you even treat psychopathy? I was also under the impression that you can't make a psychopath feel things. If there's any music playing, cut it here. To do this. I just needed to be normal. Yeah, the way he talked, I got the impression that he suffers from, like, delusions. Like, he's not a psychopath, he has schizophrenia. Like, without his meds, the world around him stops making sense. And because he takes that stuff, it makes him act a little different. And he's just so used to masking. That's why he's so, like, you know, with Olivia. He's like, Olivia, that's why... Like, yeah, I guess I'm wrong. Like, they call him a psychopath, but that's because that's the term people use for people who are on narcotics! Even if it's not appropriate. How the fuck is this all chapter 18, though? But I guess I was wrong, or maybe I wasn't. I don't know. I'm not going back. I don't care enough to look back at that stuff. Also, don't psychopath. I don't even know anymore. Let's just move on. I like how they stay friends with this guy for some reason. It makes it even worse. Like, if he's just a guy who's schizophrenic, right? Like, he needs his pills, and otherwise the world is just scary to him. And he's like, Olivia, I wanted you to take advantage of this. Like, take those advantages. For fuck's sake, you need them. That makes him... I can see why they would be friends again, right? Because then it's like just a guy who was like, my life sucks. I need the help so bad. And you're just denying it. You know, that perspective. Which feels like empathy on some level. Otherwise, it's jealousy, and that's just weird. But, I don't know. I'm fixating on the wrong point. Let's move on. Nico doesn't become a psychopath in the clinical sense. He's become a narcissist through Ben's caustic influence. Well, that's... What happens is that... I don't even think it was Ben. What happens is that Inko has lived a life where his friendships are so fleeting. He just continuously moves on. Like, I know someone who's told me I know exactly what Inko is going through, or what he might likely go through, which is that because he's always moved on, like, friendships have lost meaning. He just goes from place to place, and you just kind of ignore people. It's like, I don't care. I have money. It'll work. If I don't want to put in the effort when I can get someone who I don't have to put in the effort with. Like, I was under the impression that when Ben is like bullying Olivia about the eulogy, that he's like freaking out, you know, like because he doesn't have his meds, he's like freaking out. Also, having a psychopath in a story like this is just weird when you really get down to it. You should have a narcissist for Inko. Oh no, they're codependent. They've been attempting to utilize Jungian psychology to analogize his different emotional states in regards to all things feminine, of anima development in males. He's never been big into Jung anyway. So take this all as one. The anima is supposed to represent the unconscious female side of the male psyche. It affects how men interface with women on this level, based on this level of development, instructing 4 different levels. In 1, Eve, the male, sees women as sexual objects. This is plainly on display in ending 1, when he forces her to wear skin. Ooh, neat. In 2, Helen. The male still sees him as a sexual object, but in a more idealized state. He's frustrated with Olivia to the point of damaging mental state he can't function without her. Okay. Sees women as a source of spiritual strength and virtue. In ending 3, he derives confidence. He no longer cares about peers' approval and price. Sophia sees them as a sort of wisdom and divinity, being the root word for philosophy. Is it? Derives from philosophia, which is love of wisdom. That sounds more like it went the other way around, though. Like, the name Sophia comes from Sophie. I don't believe it's a mere coincidence that Damie's mother is named Sophia. That is a really big thing to stretch from cavemen on, of all people. Especially since Sophia doesn't really do anything in that regard, other than make the dress, I guess. Ingo, for fuck's sake, don't be meta. We got more important things to worry about. Animus represents the unconscious male part. Women with a healthy animus are able to think calmly and rationally, while women with an out-of-control animus can be hyper-controlling with a tendency to bully. Why doesn't she get stages? Men get stages of anima. Why don't women get stages of animus? It's a pretty deep rabbit hole. I mean, this might just be hero's journey crap, where it's like, no, this wasn't intentional, but it happens to coincide. Because it's a universal experience kind of stuff. Of course they harbor contempt for that kind of thinking of, like, being an NPC, because that's kind of what Anon is in the original game. The following week... Man, I haven't seen Ending 2 in a while, so I can't really relate to this all that well as I thought. Really, the whole part with their breakfast in the museum is probably the only enjoyable part of this ending. For once, Inko doesn't come across as tool. Mm-hmm. In spite of her observations, she refuses to see her own flaws and incorporate them. Neat! The deeper meaning is lost on Inko, who thinks they're just ugly for the sake of being ugly. He's too spineless to voice his opinion. Doesn't even mumble them. Now, the next part is interesting to unpack because Kevin will manage to cram a lot into these next few lines of dialogue. I wonder what people would say about Olivia's painting if they were hung up here. Will she ever get that chance? It's a lot harder to get into the mainstream as it was back in the Atticans days. Speaking of, why'd you reject her offer? Good enough artist. Kickstart your career, not what I want. Whatever your own legacy. Critical analysis. What's interesting is that it seems smarmy in his insistence to accept help from repeating back of a safety net. He still makes salient point about doing what's best for her career and her legacy, even if it isn't ideal. Keeps trying to compare herself to a Yatakan, trying to emulate him and walk the same path as he. She assumes that if she doesn't do exactly what he had done for her, it'll make a failure. She wants to carry on his legacy. Has no fallback plan. Yeah, Olivia is similar. Both are trying hard to be something they are not. Olivia. Oh yeah, it's kind of weird that he's a photographer when he drew paintings. Ah, neat. We don't know anything about the wealth, but we can safely assume the bulk of his income didn't come from the sales of his art. Let's face it, virtually no one gives a damn about it anymore. He was both a teacher and professional photographer. Well, he's very skilled and talented. He was not a monolithic figure that Olivia built him up to be. Color the accumulation of his one life's work. Pretentiously prepared dish. Oh yeah, that fucking dish. God dang you nerd. Even after spending a year around dinosaurs and half a year and observing their atavistic eating habits, he still has to try to win a presentation. Yeah, that's part cracks me up in hindsight. Goes through her fateful speech goes poorly as she makes it about herself while insulting her peers. Very similar to the concert. Comes across less sympathetic. She makes an ass of herself. Well, thankfully, bad music was unintentional. It's just reacting to all cruel jokes. Double down arrogance begins monopolizing all the grief. Inko chases after. Hey, Principal Spears been there. I imagine would tell the same thing. Yeah. Inko's description is quite haunting. Oh yeah, the whole messaging thing. Once bridge shows status quo, that's okay. Game 3 years. Inko's working corporate wage job. She's trying to keep her own work. Going to have a date night. First one in years. Temporarily embarrassed genius. Whose favorite novel is Fountainhead in regards. Only when now he finally grows enough of a backbone to stand up to her for once. I cannot but feel sorry for him. He sacrificed all hope and dreams for her. Feel sorry for it too. But her stubbornness and arrogance. Okay, hold on. I gotta go. Gotta be back in a minute. I'm back. Military Anna would win in a fight against me. I mean, he knows the combat techniques. Ending 3. The expectations of love. Even no sexuality. And he begins strong by pitting Inko against Ben. Shedding whatever respect he had. As cute as this displays, there's a tragic subtext to it. I'm not quite sure if dinosaurs and Snook and Wani are supposed to be stronger than humans and by how much they are. But it's clear that Olivia can easily overpower if she wants. She chooses to end their dance with Inko on top. With meek acts of surrender. most intimate. Hmm. Inko would have talked down toward the pains. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Huh, interesting. Pyrotechnical performance. Adventurous spirit of the unknown. Hit! Patriarch. Never stayed if he had a kind of children, we never see his wife. Hmm. Ooh, I think Olivia, that could have been an ending for us, fighting to get out. I'll be honest, this argumentation's pretty nice. It really does. It makes a good point for why it's a bad ending. She does not attend school. That's a really bad part of it. Yeah, Ben was technically kind of right. Just, Oh, yeah. Inko is correct to call label Ben a psycho. Hyperbole. Ugh. Though Ben lacks empathy. No, it's sociopaths that lack empathy, right? God damn it, I can look it up again. Psychopaths. Yeah, sociopaths. Okay, sociopaths are the weaker ones. They can still kind of feel it. Okay. That's on me. I called N on E3. And E2 was like, listen, I gotta pick up a pack of smokes first. Ooh. Inko was Hanks engulfed Olivia in love. She even erected a fortress out of it. Hmm. God damn it, he's looking way too much into that Dark Souls reference. Surreptitiously sneak. The painful tautology. Yeah, there's a lot of points like that, my man. You're not the first to notice. Nico suggests they visit the Pains. Olivia's would like to see him again, explain that she didn't part with them amicably. Gratitude and guilt. Oh yeah, she never made that painting. Oh. Yeah, she made that before. Oh god. Ouch. The did himself in. Similar to their mad dash at prom. Only this time the guy that's waiting on him is already dead. Oh heck, there is an analysis for ending one. Well, that's on me, I guess. This has been nice, although I don't have much to say. I'm sorry. I'm enraptured by the analysis. It's cringe because Inko becomes willing confederates with Ben and Mia. That is the point, isn't it? Malls today are bland compared to their hike picnic. Big chungish YouTuber who talks about jelly bean mouth cartoons. I know exactly what he means. Cartoon review community is some of the worst, most cringe. Woo! Buy her a video game. Vinny himself is something of a living Chekhov's gun. Vinny's acid spit is the proverbial gun. Damien normally comes across as very positive, happy-go-lucky, but here it's clear that he's repressed anger and resentment. Secretly thrilled. May have been the case in any... Ooh. Who would normally have a sleepover at this point. Pick something that Jessica Rabbit wears. So sexual. Exploiting her. Fair enough. Goes as well as though it happens in... Woo! What a nice analysis this is. Inko doesn't and turns into an abusive monster. I can only interpret this ending as Cavenon's naked contempt for someone. Apparently, this game had a very rocky development cycle. One of the reasons they made Mia into such a unlike... Yeah, she fucking yeets herself out of the game at the end. I get the feeling Inko's supposed to represent that guy. Yeah, because he just fucking leaves. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Isn't someone doing like an investigation of kiwi farms or something? There's like a big thing going on or whatever. Really showed like you were showing off your sophistication. Ah! Also, Ben takes antipsychotics, which are for psychosis. Yes, that's what I said, which is for feeling disconnection from reality and not psychopathy, despite the similar name. Ben says himself that people will hear psycho at the start of psychotics and assume, oh, maybe I was right. Ben was misguided, but he clearly cared for Olivia. Doesn't sound like a psychopath to me. I meant that I was showing off here. As for Ben, I don't know exactly what his problem is, but his behavior does fit the criteria. I mean, I guess, but, you know, politicians and stuff exist. Weird. Oh well. Let's see what comment page 2 has to say. Not much. Well, that's great. That was a nice analysis. I'm gonna go. How about you have a good night? Next week we'll wrap it up. Hopefully, I imagine the epilogue isn't that long. Let me take a look how many lines it has. Yeah, we can finish this up next time. I still wonder what the hell the deal was with where is it? This. Oh, it's. Who are we? Oh, it's all this. What a weird thing to do for your credit sequence. We're not reading this right now. We're reading this next time. I want to know who this is, though. I'm not leaving it behind. I've spoiled myself on many things. I wonder how much of the analysis is, like, actually intentional actions. And how much of it is just, you know, the human mind can find patterns. Psycho Bengai. I mean, admittedly, that's something to worry about, right? Look at all this beautiful art. Who the fuck are we that we're just going around talking to random ass people? we're having a second wedding! Aw, it's adorable. Oh, that's why she has art. For this? Man, they're just showing off all the character art! Hey, by the way, we put a lot of work into this! Real mechanic. Oh. Of course, she's Italian and a lady. She's got to be a mechanic. Well, whoever we are, we'll find that out next time. Oh yeah, the links. What?